ScareTopic, welcome back. I hope everybody's day's been good. I hope everybody got what they need to get done. You know, duty first. Um, Today we got the storm that drowned a whole state, y'all. A whole state. Let's get straight to it.
August 29th, 2005. It's early morning on the Gulf Coast, and one of the most powerful hurricanes in American history is bearing down on the city of New Orleans. Meteorologists had been watching Katrina for days. What started as a disorganized cluster of storms in the Bahamas had exploded into a Category 5 monster over the Gulf of Mexico, the first to form there in 25 years.
Hurricane Katrina is still blowing strong tonight, building in strength as it heads across the Gulf of Mexico, and it's expected to hit land a second time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I had better news for you, but I do want the citizens to understand that this is very serious and it's of the highest nature. The first choice for every citizen is to figure out a way to leave the city.
By the time evacuation orders went out, over 1 million people had already left.
Damn.
But tens of thousands couldn't, or didn't. And what was coming for them was far worse than they could imagine. Because the storm wasn't the only threat. What destroyed the city had been quietly failing for 40 years, and every single engineer who looked at it knew it. They wrote
It's the walls. They talk about the walls around New Orleans. If I know y'all know already, New Orleans is a damn cereal bowl. It's a cereal bowl. Yep. So that if it's one thing about New Orleans, that thing can hold water. You heard? It hold water like a tank, like a fish tank. But do me a favor, y'all. Comment below. Where were you in New Orleans when this happened? Like, how did you feel? Like, was you scared? Like, did you think you was gonna die if you was there? You know what I'm saying? And if you wasn't there, just comment where you was. And did it affect you? Did y'all feel the effect? Cause I did. I felt the effect. I was in Jamaica and we felt the effect. We definitely did, but it wasn't this strong like this.
They ran simulations just 1 year before the storm. The government modeled exactly what would happen if it broke.
Crazy.
The results were catastrophic, and nothing was done. What happened next didn't just flood a city.
Whoa!
It drowned an entire state.
Damn, that's mad water.
To understand what happens on August 29th, 2005, you first have to understand what New Orleans is and why it was always one catastrophic storm away from disappearing. New Orleans sits in southern Louisiana, wedged between Lake Pontchartrain to the north and the
I know insurance is high as hell out there. Insurance is high as a fucking plane. This shit is higher than the sky. That shit is shit. That shit is high out there, y'all. I know it.
River to the
And why do people choose to live in places like this? Why y'all do that? Y'all choose to live next to the weirdest and the most dangerous places in the world. I just did a video where people was living next to Mount what is it? Mount Saint Mount Helen. And I don't know how the fuck they do it. That's supposed to be one of the most active volcano or something like that, from what I was told. So I don't know how y'all do it, yo, bro. Y'all gotta make smart choices, man. Like, you only have one life. You know that, right? If you die, you ain't coming back.
Wedged between Lake Pontchartrain to the north and the Mississippi River to the south. It is one of the most geographically vulnerable cities in the world. Much of the city lies below sea level.
Right.
In some neighborhoods, as much as 10 feet below. The
Yo.
only reason New Orleans exists at all in its current form is because of an enormous interlocking system of levees,
And
flood
walls.
walls, and drainage canals that hold back the surrounding water on every side.
Shit.
Take that system away, and New Orleans doesn't flood, it sinks. And everyone in the city knew it.
New Orleans turning into
For generations,
Atlantis.
this system worked.
Damn.
And for generations, the people of New Orleans lived with the quiet understanding that it had to keep working because the alternative was unthinkable. But there was a problem that engineers and scientists had been raising for years.
And what's
The levees protecting New Orleans had been built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers over several decades, and many of them were
it's
not
old.
built to withstand a major hurricane. Studies going back to the 1990s had modeled what would happen if a large, slow-moving storm made a direct hit on the city. The results were consistently alarming. In 2004, 1 year before Katrina, FEMA funded a disaster simulation exercise called Hurricane Pam. It looked at what would happen if a slow-moving Category 3 hurricane hit New Orleans directly. The simulation predicted tens of thousands of deaths, a city completely submerged, a humanitarian catastrophe of a scale the United States had never experienced.
And that's from a simulation from a level 3. A level 3. They're talking about a level 5. Oh my God. If a level 3 covers the whole city, imagine what a level 5 is going to do to it.
When researchers presented their findings to
the whole
federal
state.
officials, they recall the room not taking it seriously. One scientist described feeling like, quote,
The whole idea was Hurricane Pam was to educate, but, there were a lot of federal folks who were just in the back room laughing. I distinctly got the feeling that I was the geek with a strange accent, and that was it.
Wow. See, that's people's problem right there too. That's people's problem. People feel like they too good to learn, or their ego too big. You know what I'm saying? They pride is in the way. They don't want to learn. They look uncool. Bro, you're never too old. It's never too late to learn, bro. And fuck being late. It's always good to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what awaits you when you come out your house. You leave your house every day, you risking your life. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know what type of issue, what type of problem, situation you might run into. You might run into a situation where where you don't really understand. And you know why you don't understand it? Because you never took the time out to learn about anything. Maybe if you would have took that time, you would have learned about this and you would have known, damn, I wasn't supposed to touch that. Now you touched it, and now look at you. You in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Or even worse. Took a wrong turn, drove off a cliff. You feel me? Took a wrong trip. Went somewhere you ain't supposed to be. Got kidnapped. It's war going on. You ain't know. Come on, bro. Y'all gotta always be ready to learn. Always. You never know what you gonna run into, bro. Never.
Has Kyrie texted you back?
I don't want to talk about it.
How was the math test?
Don't want to talk about it.
You need to talk to somebody. I talked to my talk.
Warnings were there. The problem wasn't a lack of information. It was what happened next. On August 23rd, 2005, a tropical depression formed over the southeastern Bahamas. Within 24 hours, the depression strengthens into Tropical Storm Katrina. It moves west, crosses the Bahamas, and on August 25th, makes its first landfall in South Florida as a Category 1 hurricane with 80 miles per hour winds.
Damn. For level 1? That is crazy.
It kills 14 people and moves into the Gulf of Mexico, where it weakens briefly over land before encountering something that changes everything. Something that would make Katrina impossible to stop.
Heat.
The Gulf of Mexico in late August is warm.
Mexico's hot.
Unusually warm. The water temperatures Katrina moves over are around 30 degrees Celsius. Essentially, high-octane fuel for a tropical system.
Right.
A strong divergence in the upper-level airflow above the storm allows it to rapidly expel heat and intensify with almost nothing holding it back. The results are staggering. On August 27th, Katrina reaches Category 3 strength. The following morning, just after midnight, it is upgraded to Category 4. By 7 a.m. on August 28th, Katrina has become a Category 5 hurricane.
Damn, all that in one day?
The first to form in the Gulf of Mexico in 25 years, with maximum sustained winds of 175 miles per hour. Its central pressure drops to 902 millibars, making it one of the most intense Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded. At 10 a.m. on August 20th,
let's see that one more time, because that is pretty. I don't know why Nature Wonders is always so deadly, gang. Like, I don't know. But it's... Why is it not doing it? Shit, screw it.
New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin issues the first mandatory evacuation order in the city's history.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I had better news for you, but we are facing a storm that most of us have feared. I do not want to create panic, but I do want the citizens to understand that this is very serious and it's of the highest nature, and that's why we're taking this unprecedented move.
I think if he would have told everybody in a panic, they would have took it more serious. Because they know where they living at. You know what I'm saying? They live in a fishbowl, basically. So they know the devastation that could happen. So if you would let them know the devastation that's about to come, shit, they would probably listen. You know what I'm saying? But you trying to break it to them easy. These people are damn near savages. I don't want to say, I'm not gonna say they savages, but shit, look where you living at. Like, you can't be afraid of nothing if you live out there, bro. If you living in New Orleans right now, you are the fucking man, because you are damn near living underneath the ground. What the fuck? Like, so it's like, I don't think them people out there is like scared, you know what I'm saying? So they don't fear nature like that. They don't fear nature. So if he would have just told them like, hey, look, listen, this is what's gonna happen. We gotta go. If we don't go, everything is gone, and we all gonna die. They would have probably went. All of them would have probably went.
Is now a Cat 5, a Category 5, as I appreciate it. So that's why we're ordering a mandatory evacuation.
It is, by any measure, the right call. It is also, for many residents, already too late to fully act on.
See
those
what I mean?
without cars, those who are elderly,
right,
those who are ill. For hundreds of thousands of people,
it would be
the order to leave is not
stragglers.
the same as the ability to leave.
Yeah, it would definitely be a few
Forecasters at the
stragglers.
National Hurricane Center
But I'm saying though, it's not, panic is not good. It's not, you know, majority of the time it's not good, but panic works sometimes. It works. It will get you going. It will get you going. You know what I'm saying? So if he would have probably made them panic, it would have got them going. You saw them, they was drinking. And like the narrator just said, New Orleans is, the people in New Orleans is like, some of the people in New Orleans is, they won't be able to leave because they don't have cars. They have, they have their liability stuff. They have their shit. They have their stuff. They don't want to leave. You know what I'm saying? And then they can't, it's not everybody that's gonna be able to get a ride. So it's gonna be some stragglers. But If they knew the severity, they would have probably left.
Warnings that are among
Taking
the
this shit
most
out.
dire ever written for an American city. One bulletin, released on the afternoon of August 28th, states that the storm surge could cause the levee system to be overtopped, that human suffering will be incredible, that water shortages will make human existence nearly impossible. The bulletin warns of areas that may be uninhabitable for weeks. The language is almost unprecedented for an official weather forecast. But even as those words are being written, Katrina is already beginning to weaken slightly as it moves over slightly cooler waters closer to shore. By the time it makes landfall, it is no longer a Category 5, but the damage that is coming has already been set in motion. The surge, the enormous wall of ocean water pushed ahead of the storm, was built during Katrina's peak intensity. By the time Katrina made landfall, it was no longer a Category 5, but the most dangerous part of the storm had already been created. At 6:10 a.m. on August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina makes landfall at Buras in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, approximately 50 miles southeast of New Orleans, as a strong Category 3 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of
Just like the
125 miles per hour. Its central pressure at landfall is 920 millibars, the fourth lowest ever recorded for a U.S. landfalling hurricane. It then continues northeast and makes a second landfall near the Mississippi-Louisiana border. Initially, federal officials believe the city has dodged the worst of it. The eye of the storm has passed slightly east of New Orleans. The wind damage is serious, but survivable. For a brief period on the morning of August 29th, there is a sense of cautious relief. It doesn't last. Before dawn, waves from the storm surge had already begun overtopping and eroding levees along the Mississippi River Gulf outlet. At around 5 a.m., on the east side of the Inner Harbor Navigation Canal, a 30-foot section of flood wall, known locally as the Industrial Canal, the very waterway that experts had long warned would act as a deadly funnel, breaches. Water begins pouring through.
Listened. I hate when people don't listen, bro. Like, damn.
Then a second breach opens. Then another.
What? Damn.
Over the course of the next 24 hours,
now that dude
there will
like
be
a lot
more
of
than
water.
50 reported failures in the levee and flood wall system surrounding New Orleans. The water does not rise slowly. It surges. In the lower Ninth Ward, residents describe walls of water appearing without warning, filling rooms in seconds. People who had chosen to ride out the storm in their homes suddenly find the water at their waist, then at their chest, then above their head.
Damn.
Those who can reach their attics do. Those who cannot,
Bro,
do not.
you're lying.
Hold the rope. Let him pull to the boat.
Nah. What? Bro, that is a house. What the yo? I've seen 3 feet water, but I never seen a 10 foot water, bro. This water is damn near above the house. Bro, why are y'all still living in there in New Orleans, bro? Why is it still people living there? Why do they still got this is like serious, bro. But then again, people live next to volcanoes. They live next to the edge of the cliffs. They live next to the end of the crevices, bro. The end of the, I don't know, bro. People live anywhere, bro. They'll live in a hole if they can. But this is crazy. They need to do something about this, because if it happen again, the same thing is gonna happen, or worse. And then on top of that, every time it happened, the whole state is homeless. The whole state is homeless. I know insurance is high as hell out here. Out there, shit. Insurance costs a fortune. I know it do. Out there, oh God. They need to stop allowing people to live there, though.
Rescuers will find axe marks in attic ceilings across the flooded neighborhoods. The marks of people who had managed to hack their way onto rooftops to escape the rising water inside. Some made it, some did not.
Damn.
By the afternoon of August 29th, 20% of New Orleans is underwater. By August 31st, that number reaches 80%.
Damn.
Some parts of the city are submerged under 15 feet of water.
Damn.
The famous French Quarter and Garden District, among the oldest parts of the city, and crucially, among the few areas built above sea level, are largely spared. But the vast residential neighborhoods that surround them are gone. Lakeview, the Lower Ninth Ward, St. Bernard area, Gentilly, New Orleans East. These are not flooded, they are submerged.
Yeah, damn.
As the system failed, the disaster shifted from infrastructure to people. Tens of thousands of people who could not evacuate seek shelter in two locations, the Louisiana Superdome and the New Orleans Convention Center. At the Superdome, roughly 15,000 people arrive before the storm. What follows is a humanitarian crisis that unfolds on live television in front of the entire country.
Damn.
Food runs out. Water runs out. Toilets stop working. The roof of the Superdome is partially torn open by the wind. People are sleeping on concrete floors in 95-degree heat.
40,000 homes flooded in St. Bernard Parish just east of New Orleans. At the Superdome, home to 9,000 storm refugees, chunks of the metal roof have been blown away. The stench of death especially strong around the convention center in the Superdome, where people have moved into the open air as they try to get away from it and closer to where buses and National Guardsmen can get to them.
We've been out here 4 days. We've really been out here 4 days.
Days pass before buses arrive to move people out. Outside, the city is a different kind of chaos.
Right.
Thousands of people who are stranded in flooded homes communicate their locations however they can. Spray painting rooftops, waving from upper story windows, calling family members who call news stations, who call emergency services.
Damn,
The response from local, state, and federal authorities is widely criticized as slow, uncoordinated, and inadequate.
Yeah.
FEMA, the federal
They were supposed to be ready for this. First of all, they issued the warning. A lot of people didn't, want to listen. Y'all should have knew this was coming. Y'all was supposed to be ready. They were supposed to be ready. They were supposed to be on standby, really. On standby, waiting. So as soon as it happened, send them out. Because this is water. This is water we talking about. This is not just a little bit of water, bro. This is a whole lot of water. So it's going to take some days to go back into the sea. You know what I'm saying? For it to settle and go back down. It's going to take some time. You know what I'm saying? So them people going to be up there for a while if they don't go rescue them. Them people, they're going to sit up there for a while. They should have had the rescue squad on standby.
The management agency faces fierce criticism for its lack of preparation and its failure to mobilize resources quickly enough for a disaster that its own simulations had predicted in detail. One of the most haunting images of the entire disaster is the sight of people, mostly elderly, many of them without the means to leave, stranded on elevated highway overpasses in the August heat, surrounded by floodwater, waiting for help that takes days to arrive. Doris Commerdell, a 93-year-old woman from Chalmette in St. Bernard Parish, is rescued from her flooded home after spending several days trapped there. She had lived in the same house
93?
for decades. When rescuers reached her, she had been surviving on what little food she had managed to move to her second floor. Her neighborhood, like most of St. Bernard Parish, was completely destroyed. She never returned.
Damn.
The death toll accumulates slowly
Look
because
at
for
all the
days
houses,
and then
bro.
weeks, the full scale of what has happened is impossible to assess. Victims are found in attics, in flooded cars, in homes that look intact from the outside, but contain the remains of people who could not get out. Nearly 40% of the fatalities are attributed to drowning. Almost half of all victims are over the age of 74. The storm did not kill randomly. It killed the people who had
Couldn't
the
get
fewest
away.
options.
Yeah.
The official death toll from Hurricane Katrina, revised by the National Hurricane Center in 2023, stands at approximately 1,400 people. The total damage reaches an estimated $125 billion, making it one of the costliest natural disasters in American history. In Louisiana alone, over 1,500 people lose their lives. More than 134,000 housing units in New Orleans, 70% of all occupied homes in the city, sustain damage. 1 million housing units across the broader Gulf Coast region are affected. The population of New Orleans falls from nearly 485,000 before the storm to an estimated 230,000 by July of the following year. More than half the city gone. Some neighborhoods never recover. The lower 9th Ward, one of the hardest hit areas, remains visibly scarred for years. Empty lots where houses once stood, streets that were rebuilt but never repopulated. In June 2006, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers officially acknowledges that faulty design specifications, incomplete sections, and substandard construction of levee segments contributed to the flooding of New Orleans. A subsequent analysis by the American Society of Civil Engineers concludes that 2/3 of the flooding could have been avoided if the levees had held. The deadliest aspect of Hurricane Katrina was not the storm. It was the infrastructure failure that followed it.
Yep.
And that infrastructure failure was not inevitable. It was preventable. Not because no one knew, but because nothing was done.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was crazy. That is kind of crazy. Not even kind of, that is awful. How can you know the severity of this? Like, y'all did a simulation on it, so y'all know the simulation. The government, they knew the simulation. The scientists, the people that study the environment over there, they know this severity that was gonna hit them because they did a simulation. And for it to be a simulation for a level 3, for it to be a simulation of a level 3 hurricane, and it still floods the whole state, and then y'all got hit with a level 5, you find out you're getting hit with a level 5 hurricane, and nothing was done before this hurricane came. Like, y'all found out how weak this wall was, and y'all found out how devastating a natural disaster natural disaster could be for y'all, especially a hurricane. And you don't fix it. That was definitely the government's fault over there. Definitely their fault. But I'm not gonna lie, the people that chose to stay, I kind of did feel like it was their fault too, but I don't feel like that no more, because you know why? Because they're homeless. They didn't want to leave their home. It's hard to leave your home, bro. It's hard to. Remember, they're leaving everything behind. Everything. If it can't fit in your pocket, or you don't got a car to carry it, you gotta leave it. So that's a hard choice. And some of these people got they got their life in they, you know what I'm saying? That's their life in their houses. They don't want to let that go. Nobody want to be homeless. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard. It was hard. It was kind of either go or maybe it won't be that bad. Maybe it's just a regular storm. We had storms before. I'm tired, man. I don't know how I did this, but hey, I did it. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. And like I said, comment below, y'all, if y'all was in this hurricane in New Orleans or anywhere where y'all was at. Did y'all feel the effect? I was in Jamaica. I definitely felt the effect, and it was crazy. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Yo, y'all boy, be safe. Stay positive. You do positive things. You heard? I mean, think positive. You do positive things. And yeah, I'm out of here.